before there was a Quran, before there was a prophet named Muhammad, before there was a city called Makkah, before any of that, there was a message. And that message is the reason you exist. In the beginning, Allah created the heavens and the earth and everything between them. And then he created the first human being, Adam, from clay, and breathed life into him, and placed him and his wife Hawa in a garden, and gave them one simple instruction. Everything here is yours, but stay away from this one tree. Seems simple enough, right? They ate from the tree. And just like that, the first human beings made the first human mistake, and Adam and Hawa were sent down to earth. And here is the part most people skip. Adam repented, and Allah forgave him. And then Allah did something extraordinary. He gave Adam the message, the same message that would be sent through every prophet until the end of time. And that message was this: worship Allah alone, and do not associate anything with him. That is it. That is Islam. Not a religion that started 1400 years ago, but a message that started the day the first human foot touched the earth. And Adam taught it to his children, and his children taught it to their children, and for a while everything was fine. But then something went wrong. The righteous people among the early generations died, and the people who loved them so much did not want to forget them. So they built statues of them, just to remember, just to honor them, just to keep their memory alive. And then generations passed, and the people forgot why the statues were there and started bowing to them. And the message of worship Allah alone became worship these statues. So Allah sent a messenger. His name was Noah, and he preached to his people for 950 years. 950 years. And almost nobody listened. And the ones who did listen were the poor and the weak. And the powerful people mocked him and said, build a boat. Who builds a boat in the middle of the desert? And Noah built the boat. And then the flood came and drowned everyone who had rejected the message. And Noah and the believers survived, and the message survived with them. But then, you already know what happened. Generations passed, and the message got corrupted again, and people went back to worshiping idols. And so Allah sent another messenger. His name was Ibrahim. And Ibrahim looked at the idols his own people worshipped, and he could not understand it. He asked his father, does this thing hear you? Does it see you? Does it benefit you in any way? And his father said, do not question the gods of our ancestors. And Ibrahim said no. And one night, Ibrahim walked into the temple of idols and smashed every single one of them, except the biggest one. And when his people came back and found their gods in pieces on the floor and asked, who did this? Ibrahim pointed at the biggest idol and said, ask him. And his people said, you know the idol cannot speak. And Ibrahim said, then, why do you worship something that cannot speak and cannot hear and cannot help you? So they threw him into a fire, and the fire did not burn him. Allah said to the fire, be coolness and safety upon Ibrahim. And it was. And Ibrahim walked out, and his people still did not believe. And Ibrahim left and kept walking with the message. And through his two sons, Ismail and Ishaq, the message spread into new nations and new generations. And then it got corrupted again. And so Allah sent Musa with the Torah, and Musa spoke to Pharaoh face to face, the most powerful man on earth at the time, and said, let my people go. And Pharaoh said no. And the river turned to blood, and frogs came, and locusts came, and darkness came. And Pharaoh kept saying no. And then the firstborn sons of Egypt died, and Pharaoh finally said go. And Musa parted the Red Sea and led Bani Israel through, and Pharaoh followed and drowned. And Musa went up the mountain to receive the Torah directly from Allah. And by the time he came back down, his own people were worshiping a golden calf. They had the greatest miracle in human history, a sea splitting open in front of their eyes. And 40 days later, they were bowing to a piece of metal. The Torah was given, and the message continued. But the corruption kept coming back, and the scholars changed the words, and the leaders changed the rulings, and generation after generation, the Torah that Musa received became something different in the hands of those who followed him. So Allah sent Isa ibn Maryam, born without a father, who spoke from the cradle, who healed the sick and raised the dead and breathed life into clay birds, who came with the Injil and called his people back to the pure message, worship Allah alone, no Trinity, no Son of God. Isa himself said, my Lord and your Lord, and he called his disciples to be helpers of Allah, and they were, and the message spread. And then 300 years after Isa was gone, a group of men sat in a council in a city called Nicaea and voted on what Christianity would believe. And the things that Isa never said and never taught became the official doctrine. And the original Injil that he received from Allah was lost. And what replaced it were books written by men who never met him, in a language he never spoke. And the pattern was complete again. Message sent, message corrupted, message lost. Every single time, from Adam to Nuh to Ibrahim to Musa to Isa, the same message, the same corruption, the same loss again and again for thousands of years. And now there was no more Torah. No more Injil. Nothing left of the original word of Allah on earth. And the question that was building since the beginning of this video was about to be answered. Would it happen again? It is the year 610 CE, and there is a 40-year-old man sitting alone in a tiny cave on the side of a mountain outside Makkah. And the cave is so small that it barely fits one person. And he has been coming here every year to think and to reflect and to get away from a world that was drowning in idol worship and injustice. A world where daughters were buried alive, where the poor were crushed, where 360 idols surrounded the house that Ibrahim built for the worship of Allah alone. And this man had never been able to accept any of it. His name was Muhammad ibn Abdullah, peace be upon him. And on a night in Ramadan, in that tiny cave, something happened. An angel came, and the angel said one word, Iqra, read. And Muhammad said, I do not know how to read. And the angel embraced him so tightly that he felt he could not breathe, and released him, and said it again, Iqra. And this happened 3 times. And then the first words of the Quran came down, read.